Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and selamat sejahtera. Okay, we continue for the now ready week 5. Okay, we cover on literature review. So we have 2 weeks to cover literature review. We start with this week's. Okay, then following weeks for the next Friday, we are actually cover for the literature review matrix. Okay, so we spend 2 weeks to cover on topic on literature review. So today we are cover actually introductions. We have templates on literature reviews. Okay, we have templates and we have the outline. Okay, we go to the basics. Okay, what is meaning on the literature reviews, or in Malay we call that kajian literatur. Okay, it summarize only importance on your writing. So purpose thesis. Okay, in order to write your thesis, you just only write or discuss based on the previous study, based on the facts actually represent on your citations in your thesis. Okay, that's why today we also cover on the literature review outline in order you are make clear what should do right in chapter 2. Okay, the first point is summarize only important writing that explain the objective and or research questions of your study, the theory underlying the study and relevant past study. Okay, number two is based on how to support your or how to answer your research question and research objective by present your facts and according to citation, description or explaining based on the citation or sentence or examples. You give the example should be based on your citation to support your literature. And the most important thing, if you write your literature review, should be bring the knowledge, understanding and meaningful to answer your research question and research objective. Number 3 is explain the objective purpose of the study, why it is necessary and what can be learned from this thesis. So when people, okay, the first person will be read your thesis is your supervisor and evaluator, assessor. So that how is really important. Whatever you write, the chosen of words, sentence, a paragraph should be know that because the first person will be read your thesis is your supervisor and the assessor. Okay, your supervisor, your assessor is the expert peoples. Whatever you write, bring a facts and based on the citation, you try to explain from the sentence by sentence in one paragraph, you try to give another example and an example is possibility. Whatever you write, whatever you read is actually your supervisor assessor will be know also because it actually the same fields. So that's most important. You should be have a technique, good technique in order to write your literature review. Please write just only relevant matter only. Okay, based on the facts and whatever, everything you want to share in terms of, or you want to make it narrative in terms of your literature, make sure it's sufficient citation. Not just only on sufficiency, you should be update your literature and should be based on year 5 years back, 2001, 2020, 2019, 1870, because represent on recently. So everything you want to share regarding issues, problems, news, understandings, knowledge, critique, synthesize based on report, based on journal, thesis, newspaper, government's policy, whatever should be represent new citation based on year currently. Okay, that's why we need literature review. Okay, first, if you want to improving the idea. So yes, in terms of literature, in this topic is not new. So previous study also cover the same thing, but you want to improving your idea. Yes, this we call that idea. So because you still in, for example, you write in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, this become a proposal, is based in idea. So you want to show your idea, you want to support the idea. That's why you need to cite many citation, the current citation, good material of citation, good authors, and to improving your idea. Number 2 is structured. How to make sure your literature review, your literature review is structured concept. So your supervisor and your assessor will be easy to understand. Based on your idea, then you show your structured concept. Okay, increase the understanding. Yes, everyone that read your thesis will be increase the knowledge and then increase the understanding. Okay, literature review is not reporting. And so if you write like reporting, let's say, this is an example, according to Ahmad, blah, 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 and according to Ali, blah, 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 according to Siti, that we call that reporting, not literature review. Literature review is what discuss. Okay, you have 3 citation. For example, from Ahmad. Ahmad discuss in Malaysia, we have this. Okay, but in China, they have different methods. Also different situation. Also in Singapore, we face another situations. So you need to discuss. Based on this ASEA, from this ASEA finding, we can face that different situations. That's why you need to summarize, you need to synthesis, you need to critiques in order to write in one paragraph. If you just write citation and write citation and write, that we not. So we cannot say that this is a good literature. You just make it reporting, but not literature. Literature review, we call that discussions. Discussion based on the previous study. Not our research discussion, but you discuss from the previous study. That we call that literature review. Okay, our purpose is to match. So that's why you want to make it matching, find the similarities. Some study from Malaysia and Singapore is quite same, but difference. So you need to also match a differentiate. So in difference, that we call that overlook, absence, needs, do a some change based on the requirement needs, do a some change, improvement. That's why you need do a research. Another way is actually why we need do a research. So you need to support from literature. So that's why the literature will become very good discuss and of writing and past research with the study can to be conducted. Okay, why literature review is so important in your thesis? Looking for knowledge gaps and knowledge gap based on the past study, change, needs. Why you need to do research? Because have the requirement, have the needs. We need to do some change. We need to make it attentions. Why this topic? They have the strengths, opportunities, have the potential from the perspective of academia, governments, industry, and the community between studies aspect that have been and have not been studied. So that is really important. You want to show that why you need to do this research. Yes, in chapter 1, you already explained your research background regarding on the relevant issues. You already write in your problem statement to write what we call that this is a research problem. So that's why you write your problem statement. But in literature review, is cover the whole of things. Whatever you write in chapter 1, you should be discuss more detail and much rigorously, much robustness in your literature review. Okay. All right. This is we call that third LR. Sorry, we have 3 literature review process and sources. Right? From these sources, you can refer the journal articles, and from the conference, we have the proceedings. You can also refer the thesis and dissertation and project paper. So that is a really important source. Also, from your literature, you can also read a book design methodology, theory, academic writing. Basically, you need to read book mostly in research methodology or design methodology. So regarding on theory, academic writings. Official and unofficial documents from the government's document, for example, blueprints, policy and report, industrial, technical report, bulletin, guideline, SOP, and etc. Okay, this is this is a 3 source. The first source, you should be follow the journal articles. Journal article is the most important based on your reference. So when we refer your reference, let's say you have reference 100, 80% should be from journal article, current journal article. Okay, this is the process of literature review. Yeah, I know that you had read a lot of article journal, but when you read, not just only readings, you need to interpret. And so you should be thinking and apply. So when you read the article journal, you should be interpret then how that you thinking, how that this sentence, this paragraph can be related in our thesis, how you want to apply based on your understanding, how you want to apply from your thesis. And then make sure you write. Okay, I just share my formula. Just enough for one day, for daily, just write only one paragraph. Write one paragraph for daily. So for the 1 week, and you can write in the, as the total because you write per daily, 1 paragraph and 1 paragraph. For 1 week, 3 pages. Okay, for 1 month, you can write in 12 pages in 1 month. For the 10th month, for example, 10th month, you have 120 pages. Just to make it consistent, just write per day or daily, just 1 paragraph. And then you can get 3 pages for 1 week, 12 pages in 1 month, and 10th month, you can get 120. So another 2 months, just rest. You just only work for your PhD and master only for the 10th month. Just 2 months, you go to the holiday, just make it break. Okay, so that's the 1 year. Following another years, 120 plus 120. So you have another 240. So plus another 120. So as for the 3 years, for the years 3, okay, so you can, as a total 360 page, just enough for PhD. And just work smart. That's why when you read the articles, and please make it record. So next week, we plan for the next week, we call that database, literature review database. When you read the 1 article journal, you should be record. So this is a very practical and smart way. So if you not record whatever you have read in article journal, maybe you forget many things. Maybe you make it lost. You have read this article, maybe you not remembering. So you lost a few things, the idea and the facts. So that's why really important when you read the article journal, you should be record. So record this matter, we call that literature review matrix. That this matter we discuss for the next week. Please don't miss for the next class. Next class is really important for your literature review. Okay, right. All right. So not this one. Okay, for this one, 8 items focus in writing literature. So we actually deep and extensive understanding of the fields, topic and problem the study through theory, methodology, analyzing and finding in a past study. So this is really important. So when I read your literature review, I need really deeps. Not just only you mention, but you not discuss. So that's why we call that extensive understanding. In order to get the extensive understanding, you should be discussed. Not just discuss the objective, but discuss on objective, your problem, your theory, your methodology, you analyze. Okay, don't just only according to Ahmad study the relationship between A and B in Malaysia. Full stop. So what? You need to discuss or from your study what's the theory using, what method they apply. So what type of the analysis, their finding, their discussion, what their suggestion, what they suggest for the next researcher. That's we call that extensive understanding and deeper. So please make sure write on that. Don't just only write just to mention, oh, this study topic in our, sorry, they just write on the objective, this study on this people study on this study, just make it reporting. Just make it report. This is not literature review. Evaluates. So the best word is evaluate or investigates. We actually investigate, evaluate past research. That's why not all paper from the previously can be right in your thesis. You need to be selective. You need to identify, evaluate, and investigate the right articles in order to support your literature. Okay, so the panel will ask like this. I give you the right scenario. Okay, let's say, for example, Nur Fazrin. Nur Fazrin, can you highlight me, or you can discuss based on your literature review, which information to represent on your research objective number 2? Or in the simply way, where your literature review for your research objective number 2? Where your literature review for objective number 1? Where your objective for your research objective number 3? How you to be represent? The panel will ask you. So you cannot answer my question. Why? What actually you write in your literature review? If you write your literature review not based on research objective or research question, you refer in which area? Which what? You refer based on what? And that's why some students missing to write in literature review, they just make it right and right and right and right. You should be know that, okay, this page until another page, this section, I'm right, whatever the thing from the previous study based on research objective number 1. Okay, next session, I will be discuss on literature review that related for my research objective number 2. That's really important because the panel will ask you, can you show me, can you explain to me where your literature review support your objective number 1? Okay, that's the matter. You should be ready. You should be prepared. You should be right in your literature review. Agree, dispute the lack of knowledge in the field. It's okay. This we call discussion. Sometimes people get positive answer, very good result on significantly. Okay, some study get another findings. Okay, some you make it very good discussion. You make it two situations. Some answer is actually support, so another literature is not support. There you discuss why actually this study from this country is supported from hypothesis, why this study from others country are not supportive, why so different, so why you need to study Indonesia. So because of different findings, you can see from the research from previously, they have two sections. A few or several research is actually agree and support. Another research, they have also faced the same thing. So, but no record Indonesia study on this matter. So that's why you need to study Indonesia, because the situation in the worldwide, okay, they have two answers, which is support or not supported. Okay. Also regarding to show that your idea, actually, your chapter 1 is idea. You want to prove whatever you write in chapter 1. Okay, I just give the right way to understanding another part of the literature review, meaning that what should be right in your literature review. You already write your research background, but chapter 1 is not enough. Just chapter 1, because chapter 1 is introduction. Should be clear. Chapter 1 introduction. Just make it simple. That's it. Because chapter 1 is introduction. But you need continue. Whatever you mention in research background, you need to more discuss in literature review. Whatever you write in your problem statement, you need to more discussion in literature review. Oh, then you clear. So literature review actually to make it more discussion, more detailed discussion, whatever I'm highlight and write in chapter 1. Yes. Okay. Then what another function of literature review? So literature review also write for the methodology. So methodology just write the procedure and protocol. What the assumption based on research design, what your research philosophy, what's your population, what your sampling. Then literature review, methodology not discuss a review. So chapter 2 also need to review methodology. How? Example, from previous study, from Hybidine study relationship between A and B, using the structure acquisition model based from the 300 sample, using the SAM PLS analysis, show that. So in chapter 2 also need to write for the methodological purpose. That's really important. So sometimes student missing to review methodology. So not just only the review methodology, but you can review many things. Literature review is actually review a theory. Okay, review about methodology, review about analysis, review about the finding, review about the contributions. They actually review for the set of research. Okay, I have research. Okay, you want to review my research. That's why you need to review what actually I'm using a theory, what's my objective, what my problem statement, what actually method I'm used, what type of analysis, what they are my finding. what our discussion and contribution and conclusion. So whatever from the previous study, you can discuss in literature review. Okay, some people do this method. Yes, you want to write literature review, you find a thesis, you just copy the previous literature review. This is not right way. How to write literature review? Literature review based on the what is called that abstractions or from the research finding. I'm read one article journal. I just only can make it one citation. The original authors from this authors. So who the owners this article? I just cite the owner the article. Some student, I ask you, how many journal you read? Oh, I read 20 journals. It's good. This is good. Why? In your reference, I can see 100 reference. You mentioned you just only read 20 journal. How come your reference have 100? Oh, because I read the one article. In this article, inside in this article, I do a cite in. Oh, you not read the original article, but you read just only one paper. So you cite also whatever the the owners cite the article, you also do the same thing. Yes, cannot be like that. You need to read the original articles. That's a really important. Some students not very clear. What is meaning of literature reviews? Okay, strength and weaknesses. You need to show. You want to be clear. You can be also critics from their study. What their strength of the research. What the weaknesses of the research. You can make a critic. Yes, from their previous study in the Singapore, for example. They just only study a small sample of survey. This small sample of survey cannot be represent the truly result. Or you make it critics. Okay, their previous study from Africa, they study only the small population. They study only for the students, represent about this important topic. For the research, if you want to make it extensive research, you should be covered all system, all ecosystem at the school. You should be covered for students, teachers, headmasters, and that's cover the whole people's the ecosystem at the school. But if you that's why research you can also critics. What actually, because why you critique? Because you want to show that from this previous have weaknesses. Or limitation. Sometimes we call that limitation. That's why our study, my study, we need to extensive the research, because previously research just only small matter. Just make it small. Just make it simple. So in this research, you want to make it big. You want to make it more improved and extensive. Okay. So regarding on the what purpose study in line, so this is really important. So whatever you do in this literature review should be relevance. Okay, bring a contributions. Also, proposed study is original works. Okay. Okay, this is a 6 content. I'm sorry, because so we have 2 versions in Malay and English, the same thing actually. Okay, 6 content features of literature review is about a deep. How to make sure that whatever you write, it should be deep, extends. So the people will read your literature review can get more new informations. You show that the skill in your writing style to represent based on the one sentence based on the narrative way. You can show that your quality in one paragraph is really good. So the people will be clear and understanding whatever you write, whatever from the idea you discuss from the support from literature review, every paragraph you make it conclude what exactly this paragraph, what actually you try to explain in this paragraph, you make it concludes. So it should be presents, should be bring understanding whatever you discuss, not just only show that the objective, but you need to the balance of research. In your literature review should be discussed based on the theoretical part, on the methodological part of the analysis of the result and findings based on the contribution or implication, suggestion for other study. That also should be discussed in literature review. You should be rigorous on neatness and whatever to make sure everything you write should be based on the sequence. And should be people will be read your article to make it easy understandings. That's part that really important. Okay, this is part of literature review. This is a part of literature review. You can see from this slide, whatever you write in literature review, you should be we should be know that whatever I'm right, because I want to answer my research objective and research question. So they have, you can see the black, okay, the black small box, small ball here. So every citation, every single thing you want to write literature review, because you want to answer your research objective and research question based on the previous study. So okay, this is a good literature review to support our objective number 1. Oh, this article also really good to support our objective number 3. So that's why you need to have very smart way and good plan. Where you should have a folder. Okay, you open a big folder, literature review. So under the literature, in folder of literature review, you have another folder. Folder literature review for objective number 1, literature review for objective number 2, literature review literature review for objective number 3, literature review for objective number 4. Let's say your objective, you have 4 research objectives. So when you read the article, so you can see that, oh, these articles more suitable for objective number 1. Then you make sure you copy and paste in the folder for literature review objective number 1. So then you can make strategize, and you should know that, oh, so what articles or what literature not enough. So you can see that how difficult, how challenged to find relevance article that support for your research objective. That's, we call that balance. Okay, all right. So this is we call that pyramids, reverse pyramids. So you can see that how parts are really important. Which section is much important? Section number 1, how to write your literature review, make it research discussion to discuss on research question and research objective. Also, you need to review regarding on the methodology. This part is the most important part on your literature review. That's why I put number 1. So people say that what is literature review is actually about the research discussion. What research discussion? Is not our research discussion. It's actually from the previous study. From the previous study finding, we make it a discuss. So how do that? How you want to make sure that your literature review is good? Because my support literature review can specifically answer our research question or research objective. Also, based on our discussion from 1 paragraph, we also discuss based on the methodology purpose. So you know that after chapter 2 is chapter 3. If you not review the methodology, how do you want to write in your chapter 3? Okay, let's say chapter 3. You mentioned that you want to study structure question model. Then I ask you, why SAM? Why structure question model? Because SAM is really good, SAM is popular. That's not right answer. Your answer should be, because in literature review, many previous study do the same thing, same our research objective, also do SCM. Are you sure? Can you show me which page number, which paragraph? Okay, professor, doctor, you can see the page 88, second paragraph. I'm discussed from the previous study, same like objective number 3, their research methodology using structure question model. That's the good answer. If you just mention that, oh, this is a PhD level, we should do the SAM methodology and SAM analysis because SAM is rigorous. SAM is about the modeling. It's not right answer. The answer should be from literature review. When people ask you about methodology, the answer is based on literature review. Oh, because, for example, I'm read your thesis. So from your literature review, I can get my prediction. Okay, this study will be used structure question model. Because we can see your literature review. So you discuss from the previous study, use the SCM. But surprisingly, in chapter 3, you mentioned you are study case study. No single word case study in literature review. How come you sure that Your methodology is case study. You just only have two answers. Please accept one. You want literature review or you want methodology? If you choose methodology, your literature review, radical change. If you choose literature review, your methodological is wrong. You need to write again your methodology because it's not aligned. Okay, that's why I put number one. It's really important. Okay, we go to the number two. Number two ranking important in literature review is about the research concept support, about research variable and themes. So this is a really important. So how you identify about the concept, you identify about your variables, your elements, your factors. So this part also important. So also number two important is about the theory and concept, or we call that model. So that's why I put here, okay, the most important number one to declare and then to conclude that your research frameworks. Number two is actually how to develop or propose your conceptual framework and confirm that from your knowledge from this research is actually refer a theory, which theory are much related in your study. In the end, you can come out the theoretical framework. So actually, theoretical framework is not original. This is based on the previous study. Conceptual framework, actually, this is original because you adapt, you make it extensive, okay, to make it much clear. Everyone can be understand because you have done to discuss rigorously that we can also propose a research framework. So you have option. So you only have theoretical framework and research framework, or you only have theoretical framework and conceptual framework, or you have three framework in your research: theoretical framework, conceptual framework, and research framework. Okay, this is some example outline in chapter 2. Chapter 2 outline is really important. Please write your outline in chapter 2 and discuss with your supervisor. Okay, this is example: introduction, overview, philosophy, transformations, evolution. Okay, 2.2 is actually continue for your chapter 1, because in chapter 1 you only write maybe 2 page or 3 page in your research background. It's not enough. It's just enough for chapter 1, but not enough for your thesis. That's why you need to continue in chapter 2. So 2.2 actually continue a section of research background in chapter 1. So this is a just example. You can write overview, philosophy, transformation, evolution, or chronology, something like that. Okay, next we continue for 2.3. 2.3 you can continue about your research theory. Okay, research theory. That's why maybe you have 1, maybe you have 2. Okay, after you discuss on your theory, so you can propose your theoretical framework. But this theoretical framework is not original. It's actually copy and paste from the previous study. So theoretical framework is actually from other people's. It's not yours. It's not our own frameworks. Our own framework, which is conceptual framework and research framework. But theoretical framework is not our framework, because you just copy from the ready-made or previously studies, previously research. Okay, if you have theory as a main, you need to support. That's why you can see that I make it bracket. Theory is the main. Research, you not enough only main. You should have support. That's why you need to read a model also. You need to read about benchmarking, about the government document, policy, about the practices, about the standards for the many literature to support our theory. So that's why 2.4 is really important. That's why I put star, because this one subjective. They have a lot of things, concept can be support our theory. Okay, 2.4 also really important. Next, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 is about our construct, our variables, our theme. Okay, if you can see here, 2.5, dependent variable is your problem statement. You should know that if you mention about, let's say, quantitative research, dependent variable, this is a problems. Okay, independent variable is solutions. Okay, I have problem because I difficult to make sure that customer satisfaction. So that's why customer satisfaction is our dependent variable. How to solve this matter? How to increase the customer satisfaction? So we need to think, okay, I want to come up the good business strategy. So that's business strategy is an independent variable because they are become a good solution. That's why you want to study, okay, I want to study sustainable, I want to come out the system, I want to study in supply chain management, I want to study project management. That's the solution. Why? Because your dependent variable, example performance, is not good. Your performance low, your performance is moderate, something like that. Some people confuse. Okay, from your literature review, they mentioned that our country performance is really good. Our performance is very high. We don't have any problem because our country is rich. So our performance time to time every year is increase and increase. So that's why when I read your thesis, so what? So what is the problems? If everything is no problem, why we need a research? Okay, that you are confusing. Oh, then after make it clear, that you make it clear. Oh, actually, my model or my framework is not suitable. Do a research. Yes, because the way you write is something like you try to make it a knowledge, but in terms of your applied, you're not clear what's the meaning of dependent variable and independent variables. Okay. Also in research, we have others variables. We have others variables. So maybe we call that moderating, mediating, control variable, also support your relationship or your effect between IV and DVs. So next, you can come out your conceptual framework. Next, you can also your hypothesis developments. So that's why you have you can see that how important in 2.8 to answer your research objective and research question. So sometimes we call that also abstract discussion. So it's something like what's component in abstract. If you write in abstract, what component in abstract? You should be mentioned about objective. You should be mentioned what theory using. So you should be highlight a methodology. You highlight the analysis about the findings, and then your contribution and suggestion. That's we call that abstract discussion, meaning that if you discuss in literature review, please don't miss this all matter information. It matters of elements. Okay, theory, objective or research question, theory, methodological analysis, finding, contribution, and suggestion. That we call the abstract discussions. Okay, that I'm right here also. So, okay, we continue for the template developments of conceptual research framework. Okay, I just do a framework. So this is your assignment actually. Okay, so our attendance is not good. Today only 15s. Okay, I'm ready to discuss to faculty. So maybe we make it decisions. So we have 33 students for this subject, but join this class only today only 15. So we need to monitor your attendance. So maybe half of us maybe will be make it bar. So we remove. So maybe if your friends not came this class, maybe they need to register for the next semester, not this semester. We need to finalize of this because our this semester attendance is not really good. Because I already know that the answer why our attendance is not good, because maybe some people think that this subject is not really important. So maybe they are already SEM 5, SEM 4, SEM 6. So they think that this subject is not important. That's why it's not came. Okay, but this is compulsory. If you want to complete, you want to graduate in this PhD or master, this is compulsory. You need to finish your class for research method, for attendance, and then for the assignment. Just very simple assignments. So I plan for the next week. I will be compile all the things. So for your assignment. So I think for right now, I want to teach you chapter by chapters. So in chapter 1 is have done. Okay. So we start to cover chapter 2. What is the important thing in chapter 2? You should be know that. Okay. We continue. So this is a framework. Okay.
I have one subject to the information you explained just now about chapter 2. Is it good if you start with chapter 2 and then you go back to chapter 1 to write chapter 1? Because
Yes,
sometimes
for sure, every researcher do same things. If you do a chapter 1, then you go to the chapter 2, then you make it balance and alignment. Then you notice that, oh, we need to repair our research background. Why? During I'm right in chapter 1, maybe my reading only read 20 theses. When you go your literature review, you read a lot of things, a lot of article journal, that you find that the new article journal. From this article journal, you notice that, oh, this is a good articles, can support your problem statement. Then you can go back your problem statement to make it improvise. No problem. This is normal. That's why proposal defect is chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So you after you complete in chapter 2, you go to the chapter 3. So when write a chapter 3, that you notice, wow, your objective number 2 is possible, do a research. You start notice when you do a research method, you think that, oh, we cannot do this. If do research in objective number 2, maybe we need to spend 6 or 7 years. Then you back in chapter 1, you remove the problem statement objective number 2, maybe you need to replace another objective, because in the stage on research objective, we notice that we cannot do a research for research objective number 2. This is normal. It's not just only you. Every research do same things. So that's why in proposal defense should be represent chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It's not just only chapter 1. It's not only chapter 2. So if we refer your thesis, okay, when we read your problem statement, we make it understanding, oh, this is your problem statement. Then when we read your chapter 2, then we can know that your chapter 2 is right or wrong. That we notice. Why you choose this theory? You mentioned because this topic. Yes, but this theory is not suitable based on your problem. That is related. Oh, in this matter, you have only 2 ways. You want to change your problem statement or you want to change your theory. Again, you need to refer chapter 1 again, and then you need to go to the chapter 2 again. It's normal process. It's a normal process. Nobody perfects. Nobody perfect. Okay. All right. Okay, we continue. This is the templates. If you can see that everyone, if you write in chapter 2, you should know that what's my theory. From this research, what possible or relevant theory we need use. Okay, so we have also support from, they have model here. So literature review. So we have the government's report of guideline, and then we need to propose. So this one, you need to propose your research framework. Okay, just only theoretical framework, we are actually copy from the previous study. But for the conceptual framework and research framework, this is our framework. And you should be, you can adapt, you can make it extensively, or you make extensively, meaning that you can extend, or you can make it new framework. Okay, this example. Okay, I show you an example. Okay, from your study, this just only example. Okay, I repeat again, this is an example. All right, when we refer our grand theory, which is represent your main theory, they represent on 3 elements, A, B, and C. Okay, but this theory is quite old theory. Mungkin 1971, let's say lah, and 1971 and 1971. Okay, but we can see that we know that also in this research, we have also another theory. But this is a support theory, not a main theory, but the support theory. So we can see that the element is A, D, and E. The element is different from the mains, because a main A, B, C, but for the support they use of the A, D, and E. The same only A. Okay, we refer for the industrials and for the government's models, industrial practice, they represent on B, D, E, and F. Okay. All right, and then we can see the policy for the government's blueprint, benchmarking, guideline. They have suggest C, D, F, and G. So when we go to the literature from Malaysia, from ASEAN, from Europe, from American, from Japan, Germany, so we can see that a lot of literature, meaning that every authors, some authors show that A, B, some other authors C, D, E. So as the total, if from the literature review, they have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we need to start to think. So, okay, this is the literature review. So from your reading, in order to discuss from one literature to another literature, from one article to another article, you notice that this main theory, this is really important. This main theory from the previous study show that how important in your study. So you try to make sure this is a fundamental. If this fundamental, you cannot be missing ABC. So ABC become a requirement. So that's why you choose ABC. Then you start to think. If I'm study using ABC, so what the difference between the main theory and my research frameworks? No difference. So then I start to investigate. So I investigate, I can see that small theory have D. Conceptual model have D also. A policy blueprint also have D. Literature review have D. I think D is become another important in this area, in this time. And this the recently from the reality is the practical way. We think that D is really important. That have proof and support from the small theory, conceptual, model, industrial, policy, blueprint, literature also highlight and mention D. So we can propose another D. So if you propose D, this we can call that research framework and conceptual framework, because your research framework is actually extends from main grand theories. This is just only research. Don't show that you make it a very complex research. You just add one enough for the PhD purpose. Okay, but you need to prove how you propose D construct or something that we call D themes or D variable in your research framework. You prove, you need to write, you need to explain. So how that D important from the literature review. That's why you want to propose a research framework and conceptual framework. Also include D in your research. Okay, that's the way you want to prove that how that importance D. Then when you check, oh, nobody have proposed the same thing. You the first person produce A, B, C, D. Yes, A not difference. Small theory also different. Conceptual also different. Policy blueprint also different. Yes, for sure, literature also same, but they have single study. A study maybe 2, maybe another study using 3 or 4, but not only one study propose the same thing like our propose. Okay, that's become another your research conceptual or research framework. Okay, this is a template outline. So this is another your assignments. Okay, your assignment only have 3. 1, you need to prepare for your presentations. Number 2, complete your templates. Number 3 is write chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3. No minimum page. Doesn't matter is wrong or false. I just request based on our class, based on your reading, after you discuss with your supervisor, what is actually you understand. So if you understand, please write in chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Doesn't matter. Or for your problem statement, just 1 paragraph, or literature review 2.1, just 1 paragraph. That's enough. That the most important thing, everyone have 1 file for chapter 1, 1 file for chapter 2, 1 file chapter 3. At least chapter 1 outline have complete. Chapter 2 have complete. Chapter 3 have complete. But you can make it progress, or you write little bit in chapter 1, in 1.1. Just make it simple, but at least the most important thing, you should be know that 1.1, what should be you write. 2.2, what should be you write. That make it clear. Okay. If you send the assignment only 20 pages, also no problem. Okay. Because I need you prepare for chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So I can see chapter 1 have outline, chapter 2 have outline, chapter 3 also have outline. So you have done write little bits. 1 paragraph also enough to show that you know that what should be you write in this every single section from chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Okay. All right. This is a literature review outlines. So this is the plain one. So I show you the example number 1. This is example number 1. So the example number 1 is actually same from the previously I'm highlight. So we go through the example number 2. So example number 2, you can see that 2.1 introduction, 2.2 is about overview, 2.33 theory, 2.4 is about concept. 2.5 is your variables. So we have dependent, independent, others variables. 2.8 is about your hypothesis developments. 2.9 is about your research gap. 2.10 is your research frameworks. 2.11 your conclusion. Okay, not necessarily you write and follow whatever I'm suggest. You can make it change. You need to discuss with your supervisor to confirm that your outline for your chapter 2. Okay, show you the example number 3, also the same thing. Okay, ini maybe more suitable for the qualitative research. Introduction, overview, theory, concept. So you need to discuss on your research question number 1. We call that, okay, this one 2.5 is about literature review for research question number 1. 2.6 is about the literature review based on the question number 2. I'm sorry, make it typo. This one 2.6 is not research question number 1, but number 2. 2.7 discuss on literature on the question research question number 3. 2.8 is actually research discussion for number 4. Okay, that the highlight the black ones. The research question number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Then you make it the general mapping of frameworks for your, because in qualitative it's not necessarily have the framework. If you are study qualitative, when you discuss with supervisor, maybe your supervisor no need a framework, but some supervisor need framework, so you can propose the general mapping or general frameworks. Okay, then make it conclusion. So this is another your assignment. I think that we have many templates. Okay, you need to just to make it template very simple like this to show that, okay, you done this template. So we have template chapter 1, we have template chapter 2, we have template chapter 3. Okay, in this method, you just follow from the week and weeks. Okay, so the next week I will be sure that the detail of our assignments. Okay, this one for your homework actually. For homework actually, I hope so. It's not assignment. This is actually the homework from the self task lah. So in my perspective, if you have example like this, you must clear what should be you write in your chapter 2. Okay, I show the example. Okay, I read the one thesis. Okay, I read the one thesis from Duratul Ain Abdul Razak. So I just screenshot the title in the slide. Okay, next I snapshot also their table of content in chapter 2. So to make it the idea. Okay, so this thesis Duratul Ain Abdul Razak on the topic learning to lead strategy decision making in shared leadership organization challenge and prospect startup in Malaysia. So their outline is 2.1 introduction, 2.2 business life cycle, 2.21 business growth, 2.2 business life cycle, then 2.3 is leadership crisis, 2.31, so 2.4 brief a history leadership, 2.5 style of leadership, okay, 2.6 share leadership, 2.7 is conclusion. The last part is the conceptual framework. Okay, in this styles like that, my example number 2, you can see that you start with the review variable, you answer your every literature on research question, you continue, the last section is research gap and research framework. Okay, in this example for Duratul Ain, also do the same thing. You end your literature review by propose a conceptual framework. Okay, we go to number 2. Okay, from Khairul Anwar Saad. Okay, you can do the same thing also because you have collection of your thesis. Okay, please do the same method because to make sure that you understand what is actually the best outline for your literature review. So Khairul Anwar Saad study the peer coaching in Malaysia, exploring implementation professional learning communities. So this is their literature review. 2.1 introduction, 2.2 professional learning communities, and then they see the 2.3 is peer coaching, 2.4 instructional leadership, 2.5 teacher community, 2.6 teacher CFSC, 2.7 summary of the chapter. Okay, go to another thesis from Nur Ain binti Sulaiman, investigation student teachers, pre-English language teacher. So they start 2.1 introduction, brief overviews in the Malaysian education system, national education policy, recent education chapter 2. Okay, chapter 3 is their literature review, chapter 2 their research background, chapter 3 is literature review. They start introduction, the concept, reflection, expansion, criticisms, Scozenizer, development, reflective skill issues. Okay, this one example number 4. Okay, you can refer a lot of the example here. Okay, you can see for example this article from Uzil Zairul. We can see their end of their outline chapter 2. that show that the summary gap. You can see that this is a very good example. Introduction, they start the topic, overview the disaster, what's a small medium enterprise, 2.4 role of stakeholders, 2.5 resilient, 2.6 business continuity management, 2.7 is summary of gap, 2.8 is conceptual framework. So they have come up with two. I think that just only one enough. This one they differentiate between conceptual framework for PhD research, conceptual framework for the research. Okay, and for the purpose in UPSI, just only one, just one conceptual framework, just enough. Okay, this is another example also you can refer. Okay, a lot of example here. Then please do self learnings on this slide, because I already give how many theses here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. In my thesis also here. Okay, we have I show that with 18 example. This the title from their thesis, that this is the outline chapter 2. So in order to propose outline in chapter 2 is really important. Please discuss with your supervisor to make it green light. Your supervisor agree is much better in order to write in chapter 2. If you not discuss your supervisor your outline chapter 2, how you want to write in chapter 2? So that's why the first thing first, in the first semester, you should be know that to come up the outline for chapter 2 and get the green light from the supervisor. So meaning that your supervisor agree. That's the most important. Don't just write lonely. You think you're right, you just write. Please discuss your supervisor to confirm that this is the right way outline for our literature review. Okay, I open the questions. I open for Q&A. If you have the questions, please. Ada soalan nak tanya? Silakan. Okay, next week we cover for the literature review matrix from the Excel. For next week, I'm use Excel in order to teach how to record. If you read the article journal, you should be record every single things. We have many things you need to record that we call that literature review matrix. If you have literature review matrix, we can know that to write the best literature review. So people will be easy and clearly understand whatever you want to show, whatever you want to discuss, whatever you want to explain about this literature review to support every single research objective and research question. Okay. Any questions, please? If you have any questions. Okay. I'm sorry today. I have urgent matter need to complete this night. So that's why from the lecture, we only cover 1 hour today. But I think for the next week, we need much time, because to cover on the literature review metric, we need to make everyone to make sure to understand. So we maybe need more time for the next week to make sure everyone clear and when knows that how to implement this literature review matrix. Okay. Any questions? Can you explain about SLR, meta-analysis, etc.? Okay, this is another technique. So before we start for the SLR, meta-analysis, okay, I just make it very simple explaining. Okay, this technique, SLR, they have technique, which is, for example, you using Prisma, you follow Daniel and trend fields, you cite on the Iwahdati. So if you study SLR, the first thing first, you need to answer that, okay, SLR have many authors. You follow which authors? Okay, I follow Prisma. Okay, in Prisma, they have the step by step. Okay, you start with to identify your keywords. You need to identify at least 5 keywords. And then second part, you should be control your year. Maybe I select 5 years. 2021, 20, 2019, 18, 17. Okay, based on the 5 years and 5 keyword, I need to select a database. In this case, SLR, I'm using Scopus and Web of Science database. Okay, this is the first thing first. In the first step, you should be know that the database, keywords and year. Okay, then you get many from your searching. Using the advanced search, using the Boolean technique, you can find many 100 and 1,000 articles. But you need to screen and eligibility. So we have screening. The next third step, you have eligibility. The step number 4 is the synthesis. So SLR, when we talk about literature review, is about the synthesis writing. So synthesis writing, we have 3. Synthesis qualitative, synthesis quantitative, and synthesis mix. Meaning that's both. You write synthesis covered on qualitative and quantitative. Okay, in SLR, so we can many things. So you should be focused on objective. SLR can do for the purpose of writing on definition. SLR can identify regarding on the factor to identify the factor. SLR also can beneficial to identify the research gap. SLR also can be discussed. It's actually, we call that saturated. Meaning that you write literature review, you need to find the total article, maximum. We call that habis-habisan saturated. Okay, that's the part we call the SLR. Okay, meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is much advanced rather than SLR. Because not just only we are summarize, but we need to analysis the data from the previous study. Meaning that, for example, you are studying regressions. The value of regression from previous study, we need to analyze, make it average, something like that. So meta-analysis and SLR actually quite same in the first round, but SLR full stop. Or meta-analysis, we need to do another analysis to analyze the output from the previous study. So my mean value is 7.8. So they need to find another research. What is your main value? So make it total and make it average. So they have many calculation on analysis to make it continuity on that research. So meta-analysis, please make sure that this meta-analysis may be for the field for information management. So in this case, for our class business research method, I think that it's much suitable for SLR. I'm not saying that we cannot do the meta-analysis. What type of meta-analysis? If you just study meta-analysis for the step number 1, it's just okay. When you go to the advanced or meta-analysis, I think that you don't enough time to make it study. But if you are actually PhD on information management, that just only thing that you do, because meta-analysis can get PhD. I have, for example, I'm PhD information management. My objective is analyze meta-analysis, can get the PhD. But our research, not just only study the meta-analysis. We need to do the interview, need to do the survey, need to make it what we call that, study the effect, study the system, do a module, need to analyze. So we don't enough time. So this is a really good question, but you need to differentiate the level of the meta-analysis. Okay, meta-analysis is very interesting. But if you want to me explain detail, I think not enough time. Okay, but just enough, you can differentiate what is the SLR, the meta-analysis. These two methods is rigorously, and actually you need to read a lot of article journal. Okay, that become another trending. Also SLR also trending. So I'm also encourage all the students study on the SLR. Okay. Thank you, Sharidat, for your questions. Okay. Nowadays, if you want to make a lot of people covered. So sometimes for the meta-analysis, we have a lot of things. If you want to explore the meta-analysis, I think the best part you study in the YouTube. You type the meta-analysis, you can find the many experts in Malaysia and outside there. They have explained. So this guy highlight that meta-analysis type A. This guy highlight the type B. They're very interesting. Okay. So in UPSI, meta-analysis mostly cover on the Faculty of Science, mathematical modeling. They have studied on the mathematical modeling. They are using the fully meta-analysis to get the PhD. Maybe in our student business research method, we just only the first step and the light of the meta-analysis. If in my case, I'm do the meta-analysis, but I'm not declare my meta-analysis because my meta-analysis is very light. So I just highlight that I'm use the SLR, but I'm not use the meta-analysis. But if the people what we call that can understand what is a meta-analysis, they can find that it's Fazli do a meta-analysis, but it's very light. So in my case, I just make it humble. I'm not declared for the meta-analysis. Okay. Okay, thank you, Sharizat. Any questions? Other questions? This really good question because when we read, we write a literature review, so they have the couple of the techniques. So the one technique right now is quite trending is a SLR. SLR meaning that systematic literature review. Okay. Please join the class from the IPS. In IPS, they have come up the training and courses. Some of couple of Saturday. Please check in our calendars and our timetables training in IPS. So they invite some speaker to cover to teach on the SLR. Please join, Shahrizad. Please join on that and that courses. Free courses. IPS provide the free courses. I think for quite 3 or 4 times in 1 year. Sometimes 3 times, 4 times for one year. They come out the training for the SLR. Please join on that. So because they are studying maybe 2 days. That's 2 days cover the SLR. I think enough. So our purpose business research method not cover specifically on the SLR. I'm sorry on that. So we are cover another thing. We call that literature review matrix next week. So literature review matrix is actually after you are study SLR, next you study literature review matrix. And so for me, literature review matrix is compulsory. If you use SLR, you need literature review matrix. You are not study SLR, you also need to study on the literature review matrix. So for me, literature review matrix is more important. But if you study both SLR and literature review matrix, you get double. For me, much good. You increase your skill. Okay. Okay. Any question? Others question on the literature review? So today we just make it simple. So we are cover what is the literature review, parts of the introductions. So I show you that the template, specifically the outline for the chapter 2, and then we also show the example from the chapter 2 outline. From the table of content for the chapter 2, we can see that 2.1, 2.2, and 0.3. I'm also give 3 examples of the outline for chapter 2, so you can get initially idea to copy, and then you can make it change, and then you can propose your outline. But and again, please discuss with your supervisor. Okay. In IPS class, please go to the website Postgrad Office. Please click the training. Then they have the sum table. You can select the specific date to join on the training. Okay. Okay, Sultan Al-Zabi, I'm highlight quite couple times. So I'm just teach what is exactly in chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's okay, never mind. Do you have enough time to cover the assignment? Next week, I'm highlight again. Next week, we will be discuss much detail what should do for your assignment. Assignment number 1, assignment number 2, and assignment number 3. So in this week, just read again, please, looking again and views again our video number 1 about database thesis, database article journals. Please read on our chapter 1, how to write in chapter 1. Today we discuss about the chapter 2 to at least you start with our class, at least you get some basic, initial basic. Okay, next week I will be touch you about our assignments. Okay, so we start to discuss on our assignment. Why I'm not discuss early about our assignment? I'm very frustrated about attendance. Okay, let's say today I'm discuss about the assignments. So next week have newcomer join this class. Oh, this is my first time join the class. We now ready the week 6. So I need to repeat again and again the same thing about the assignment. But I have cut off. So by hook, by crook, next week, I need to make it serious. I need to explain detail for our assignment to make sure that so maybe I'm not received. So this actually from my Excel, from the WhatsApp, we only have the 18 students. Today, 2 people absent. But in the WhatsApp, we have the 19th join in this class. I need to remove so another 16 student because not join from the week 1 until to week 5. I'm sorry on that because the system of university. For me, I'm okay. I make it flexible, but for me, we need to seriously because we done ready in week 6. We need to make it a conclusion. So we just received that people really need in this subject, need learn for this subject. So for people not attend since week 1, I think that we need to remove to our system. They need to register for the next semester. I hope so that we need make it some conclusion. Okay. If not, we have the problem. So we just wait them to join. Suddenly we not ready compiling what we should be do for the assignment. Okay. But it's okay for the now until the week 5. I hope so everyone should be clear the part of the important thing about the thesis, about article, about chapter 1 and chapter 2. Next, we will be straight away. Because this class is business research method, the most important thing is about method. But for me, how to teach the method without to teach about thesis, article, chapter 1 and chapter 2. That's my opinion. We cannot be touch the methodology without explaining about literature review and introduction. That's my perspective. When I'm start the research methodology without any explanation, intro the literature review, I believe that some of us cannot follow. Oh, why suddenly we study method? How to write chapter 1? How to write chapter 2? Maybe some of students may be confusing or blur. That's why I spent a couple of weeks on chapter 1. Sorry, in week 1 until week 6 to cover until chapter 2. So start for the week 7. We straightway cover for the methodology. Okay. But I cannot find the template. Yes, yeah, you cannot find the template because I not give you. I not give everyone for the template. I just give a slide. So we not yet applied for the template. I give the template only for the slide. Please make it understanding first. So for the next week, I will give you the templates. Okay. Okay, ada soalan lain? Just because I just make it now already 9:12, I think I should be stopped in today's very short class today. I'm sorry on that because I make it short today for the purpose of literature review. We continue for the next week for cover for literature review metrics. I hope so you can get beneficial for today topic on the literature review. So we still continue for literature review next week to make it clear and much clear on literature review. Okay, before we start straight away, start on the rigorous part and robustness part for the methodology, insyaAllah. Okay, terima kasih semua. Okay, thank you very much for your commitment, for your attending, for your question, for your feedbacks on this week. Okay, we hope so a positive and really good attendance for the next week. Okay, I'm really hope so on that. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera and good evening. Okay.